So what would you choose, success or fame?
Fame.
Your most memorable time on stage?
Absolute madness.
Are you a risk taker or an easy goer?
I'm a risk taker all the way.
Family or career?
Family.
Who would you want to have a rap battle with?
Bob Dylan, but he's dead. I mean, from the scene.
Money or monk?
Money or monk? I would choose both. You know what? You have the square, which talks about materialism. On one hand, you have the spiritualism, and it's an infinite loop. And if you can have it, I can have it.
Welcome again to the Make You Happen show. We're very happy to bring to you a pioneering rap artist, Vic Fiago. Welcome on the show, Vic Fiago.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Is Fiago your surname or is it your rap name, or what does it mean?
So, Fiago as a word does not exist. My brother is a writer. He had this book that it was a place where the id didn't exist, from the id, the ego, and the superego. So it was a chaotic place without rules. And I identified to that. I wanted a name dealing, then I went to England. So I never really belonged somewhere. It was like a nomadic life. Even now I'm traveling. I wanted a name that is easy to say, doesn't mean anything except what I want it to mean, and doesn't tie me down to a certain ethnicity or type of person, because the world is slowly becoming similar. So I would say Fiago, for me, the way I define it is, it's a state of mind where you do what.
So tell us, I believe you achieved success. I think 2012 you pioneered with rap, and you won, several awards. You won VH1 Sound Nation Award for the best rapper. I think that was the only time, such an award was given. I think you've also been judging many rap contests.
Yes.
You've also been associated with many brands.
I've worked with Pharrell's brand, G-Star Raw. It's a pretty big list.
So the point is, what do you attribute your success to? There are so many people who want to become musicians, who want to write music, who want to go and do what they love, as they say. So, before going into your journey, if I say that if there's one thing that you would attribute the success to, what would that be?
I think that's a two-part. Materially, I would say, as a 30-year-old single guy, I'm just doing okay. I'm fine with what I'm doing. Then there's the other. You come back in the end of the night. Like Bob Dylan said, success is somebody who wakes up, does exactly what he wants to do until he sleeps at night. So in that way, I would say, yes, it's been quite successful. I think we're very forward-thinking. My mom was an entrepreneur. My dad, a football commentator, journalist. They saw things differently. They never restricted me in any way. My mom always said that if you build a wall around a child, they are more curious to see what's on the other side. So instead of building the wall, let them play and they will find their way. Where we grew up, it was more about, there was so many activities, so trophies for your team and stuff. So I went into debating and elocution and drama, public speaking performances. Been doing it from 6 years old. So that would credit directly. There's also the factor of luck. I know a lot of people say like, you make your own destiny. But to me, destiny is, it's the wind that blows and then you got to know how to sail it. You control half of it.
Well, that's interesting, so you're actually bringing me to the next question, because upbringing.
Yeah.
And then I believe when you were in UK, you actually suddenly, threw it all. So they would have been quite supportive with this.
Dropping out of my degree was it was a conscious choice. At first, I did not inform my folks back home that I'm going to drop out of college. I did a lot of odd jobs. I've done sales in the UK, which is difficult. Making sandwiches and then lots of odd jobs.
All right.
And then I started doing graphic design that kind of gave me money to go by. My friends were into, let's do this. Mm-hmm. I had got a job. I even did 1 week of, I look at it, there's type A and type B personalities. And some guys are just not meant for, like sharp at 8, be in that work and repetition. I'm a rapper, but I don't have tattoos because I'm kind of scared of that regularity thing. I prefer spontaneity. It's more of an entrepreneur streak, I guess. So then I decided I'm not good at this. Let's just risk it into music production. I walked up to the dean and he said, if you walk out of that door, you are throwing it all away. And family is cool because I was blessed with a really forward minded family. My mom was an entrepreneur. My dad was a journalist, a commentator. So they supported, but the rest of the people were like, it wasn't until newspapers and TV stations started approval of the relatives, and you watch serials, you know what it's like. After getting a bit of recognition, they were the exact opposite, going around and he's risk. I felt stupid for years doing it, but I think I trust my instinct more than my logic, and it has kind of protected me so far.
For you.
Yeah.
But something is not connecting here, Fiago, okay? Because, while this is sounding like a fairy tale dropping out and, being accepted, etc., etc., okay, but they say that, especially, your genre about rapping, okay, they say it comes out of angst and you have to have a lot inside you, that you actually bring out. So, am I missing something here? Yeah, I understand you had hip-hop friends, but that's...
I always wrote poetry. I was always on stage. I just didn't know it was going to be rap. I was keen on being a music producer. When I came to India, and yes, I haven't fully stated this before in any interview anywhere, but there were a series of mishaps in my life. Back then they said 2012 was going to be the end of the world, I remember, and everybody was ready for it. To me, it kind of was the end of the world, I would say. I lost my mom in a big... I had my dad kind of go through some kind of a problem as well. He, at the same time, my resort or whatever we had, there was a cyclone and it destroyed all of it. We had another place in Darjeeling, the Gorkha land problem, they seized our land. 2012, we went from, waking up where, like you said, like a fairy tale, entitled kids with cars below your house, almost nothing, you can say. And my family has many matured members, but I'm not one of them. They dealt with it headstrong and they stuck together. I ran as far as I could. So I hit the road, I toured, I performed in various places, I hitchhiked across the country. I'm anxious by nature anyways, and a lot of artists are. You have that borderline anxiety. And back then I didn't know about meditation and stuff. So all the rage, all the anger, when I was doing it on stage, it kind of benefited me. People were like, wow, he's... Like, I could rock a crowd of 20,000 without my mind being present there, just on auto mode. I mean, it really helped problems. I can go on a stage, I can let it out with full-on rage, and it translates to money, success, happiness. And I was like, okay, win-win. So that kind of triggered me to go on stage. I wasn't seeing myself as a stage person. I was more of musical nerd, making beats and editing videos and a lot of laptop time. After all the tragedies, they say when it rains, it pours. So it really poured heavy, and it breaks your core, and now you want to replace that core with something nice.
Yeah.
And then I had, people writing to me like, your songs are helping me get through my parents fighting. And even today I get like, I wake up to many. So, I mean, I would like to tell a lot of musicians out there, or a lot of artists in fact, that go out there, get damaged, put yourself out in the storm, don't sit in the shelter, because that is our raw material. When you make any product, you need raw material. Ours is inspiration, content, and that drive. I'm not saying I wish that bad things would happen to me, but I'm saying I'm so glad that somehow I was able to turn it into something fruitful.
No, I think I really appreciate this, because, sharing this with his audience, because, out of failure, as I say, one door closes and another opens, and, you really
many
actually, you're sharing that.
In a way, before the problems happened, because I was a nourished younger child.
Right.
So that's a very protective person with self-esteem issues, insecurity, spoiled brat, you can say. From there, going to nothing, and then you grew up in a prestigious school, so your classmates want to meet up somewhere fancy, and you are looking for excuses, and you're like, In fact, if you trace rap back to, like, say for instance, the Kanye West album, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and that's when he had his breakup. So if you, like Jason Mraz, he had his breakup before the whole I'm Yours album. If you trace back to, I mean, John Lennon and Yoko, everybody, there has to be a certain amount of feeling and happiness, contentment, satisfaction. I feel that there's...
You would have gone through lots of challenges before success actually came.
Just this, and I don't have any shame saying this. 2014, I was peaking. They didn't know what rap was in this country, not professional rap. They didn't have people performing, a lot of recognition.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to sustain something for a long period of time. Especially, yes. And especially in entertainment, like today, it really got to me. So 2015 and 16 were probably really bad years for me. And then all of a sudden, it's not there. And the prime reason is because you're happy with life. Handbrake on my life, that this is not the way it's going to go. It's not about touring, it's not about swag, it's not about collecting fans, it's not that. I pulled that handbrake. I decided I'm going to leave society in a way, go to the mountains, live there, channel, because if I need to do this long term, if I need to keep churning out art, Van Gogh is lucky because he never sold a painting, so that hunger lasted a lifetime. But we live in an era of WhatsApp. If I do something nice, it takes 5 minutes for me to be famous. And how do you sustain that? When he's writing in the trailer van with his mom being abused by someone, and that's when how does Eminem do it after having a 200? So I thought the start happened due to external forces. But the sustenance, the maintenance, and I plan to do this for years, will have to be an internal thing. I cannot rely on a brake my buttons and be able to turn them on at any point.
Right.
For that, I had to distance myself from society. Yeah. So this sustenance thing, I mean, I'm doing gigs for half the price I did 4 years ago, which is strange. You know where your buttons are.
That's a very interesting answer. I must applaud that. So Fiago, maybe there is an answer, or let me ask you this question. So you seem to have been also trying rap with different folk instruments, and you've been touring a lot, I believe, in the Northeast, and I also read somewhere that you're associated with Zen rap. So is this a way, kind of you're reinventing yourself? Is there a message you're trying to give? I mean, I'll just throw it open to you,
looked into rap, and in the beginning I was making all kinds of songs. I also had a song like Jo Marzi Wo Karo. I also had a song like Keep It Real. So I was just throwing darts everywhere. When the handbrake thing happened and when I looked inside, I realized that I was brought up in a boarding school and then in England. So it was hard for me to relate to my own country. It was easier for me to relate in England. So then I was like, okay, how do I go about this? Because I want India to love me in a way, not just a niche crowd. I want to get into homes. So I traveled a lot because of my gigs. Buddhism has like 13 or 14 really interesting instruments. The femur, they play the femur, it's called Kangling. They have Rakdong, which is, I went to grandmothers, you know, in Nagaland, in Assam, in Bhutan. And there's a whole volume of Indian folk, a lot from the East, which is almost being forgotten. We are in the race to be westernized, and for me, I've been so westernized all my life that I want to kind of look the other way now. So then it went to the gully rap. So coming from Bengal, there are people like Tagore, there are people like Michael Madhusudhan Dutta. Now, if they see me doing lyrics, not that it's bad, like party rap is a good thing, but if they hear me saying Char Bottle Vodka, for instance, they'll be like, okay, Vikramjit Sen. And I have a direct lineage to people like Sarojini Naidu, Bankim Chandra, so forefathers are looking at me saying, what are you doing? There's a lot of pressure. I read a lot of books in my life which I can't unread. Rap, organic rap, Zen rap, natural rap, these are the world, it's not much. Like a little bit in Japan, a little bit in Africa, but no one's actually coined it. I want to dedicate my entire existence, you can say, to finding these sounds, to working with them, because we have so much variety in India, and it's amazing how quickly everyone's forgetting it. So if you include something as modern as rap, then the millennials and the Generation Z, they have a way of, like I did that song with a baul, which was quite popular. We had quite popular people sharing it. It went viral. A lot of people in Bengal did not know what baul music was. A lot of people in India definitely did not know what baul music was. In Bhutan, I did a song in Dzongkha. In Manipur, I did 2 songs in Meitei language. People from these places rap. Not only are they listening to me, they're also I feel just using an Indian language is not good enough. Like if I were to perform for the world, and I'm doing the same thing they do, but I'm just changing my language to Hindi. Academy London, they don't want to see how good I can rap like them. They already have fusion, and I feel mainly you should do something that you actually like. Like if I was to do generic rap, it brings me volumes. It's a really nice way of, like, you wake up and you want somebody to play the tabla and someone else to play a sarangi, which is a Nepali instrument.
Very well said. Fyago, you know, you mentioned something about moving to the Himalayas earlier. Did I hear that right? What is the story?
Yeah, my routine was getting messed with. Also the energy. When you're living in a city, not many people are content. Maybe they're happy, maybe they're successful, but you know the rat race thing, like I want a bigger TV, bigger house, bigger car. And all that energy, like I really believe in energy, and a neutral energy space is okay. But a lot of negativity, we have crows that are also very angry, like flying around in the cities. You know, in the hills you have sparrows and friendlier birds, friendlier animals, friendlier people. I think village life, mountain life, what I've realized, I'm still living in a place which has just 900 people in it. And they're all local, they've never been in a plane. They have 4G now, so they're little. We wait patiently for a single carrot or lime to bloom, and then you eat it. You are eating from the soil. Chickens are sort of esoteric sort of life, I would say, like a holistic life. And how big the universe is, it sounds poetic, but just standing there staring at the lights at night, you see the stars on the sky, and you see stars on the hills as well because of the little spots of light through the hills. You realize that you're just one more light, you know? You're not all that great per se.
You know, now what you're telling me is, okay, you are in the Himalayas for a peaceful life because you're very happy there. Okay, and so, you know, we discussed how for rap you need that angst, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so in such a nice life, right, in such a pure life, can you share, you know, what is it about your routine, okay, that actually inspires you to go and create things?
I think when the angst was there, it was more of straightforward hip hop. You take the mic, you scream. But we're going towards a very minimalistic world. If you see houses now, we don't have that cupboard full of potpourri and designer things. We're going into a very Japanese minimalistic world. You just have one bed close to the floor, everything's white.
Yeah.
Music itself, it's being minimal.
Yeah.
So that angst thing was good for for old school hip hop. A beat will go on, I'll cuss, I'll tell you my problems. I think now it's more about visual projections, visualization. Very similar to what you do at Conscious Sleep, which is why I was very surprised when I got a call from your office, because I actually got a call from Mumbai asking me about self-actualization, like, would you come and talk about this? And I was like, okay, you know, this is not happening to me. It's very unique and very rare, but it's also true. Like I said, like the angst thing, like you said, like it's not, a problem will not last forever, but you have to find a way to create forever.
So you use visualization, you were saying?
Yes,
Yeah.
A lot of people like will not be aware of what it actually is. It's like manifestation of reality. You can manipulate reality. They have this in Buddhism, they have this in Hinduism. If you want something and you want it bad enough, and I'm not saying want it like you're scrolling through your phone, you see a forest fire in Amazon, then you see a really hot girl in a towel, then after that you see a terrorist thing, and after that you're looking at a chicken recipe, and then you're like, oh, I'll release a rap song as well, you know? That is not focus. If you wake up and you're like, I want to rap, I want to be the best at what I do, it makes me happy. You chase success, it's a very difficult path. But if you chase your dream, success follows you. And it's a long and patient game. It's been 6 years and I'm still here. I don't have, but I always knew I was going to be a face out there, a speaker, debates. I won awards in Scotland as well for speaking. You know, I've won awards for drama. I always thought like, I want to be a voice, a face. It had to be. I told myself that it's not a, oh, I might. It's the be and all.
There's no doubt.
Yes. So if you go into our mythology and all those people, Acharya is like, you know, what do you see? And the first guy is like, oh, I see a tree and I see a bird and I see, you know, and then he misses. And the next guy is like, oh, I see a bird. Off the bird, nothing else. And that's when Dronacharya says, shoot, the greatest rapper of all times. I wake up and I tell myself, today I'm going to write something which was better than what I wrote yesterday. And I'm going to write something that helps me deal with myself. The success will come. I think if you wholly believe in something, whether it's something like, okay, I'm going to protect my kid, or whether it's something like, okay, I'm going to go to work and today I'm going to excel at what I do, or whether it's something as basic as, I'm going to make a new friend today. But if you make it your mission and you believe in it, not just passing whims. Millennials have this problem of attention, you know, one manifestation of anything. But if you have your eyes on the prize and you look at it, it is bound to happen. There's no two ways that imagine is real. It's so true because you shape your reality, you channel all the energy. We are here today in a very unique space. You've Yeah, I did a little research. You're writing books and you're talking about self-actualization. And for me to have met you right here, right now, it took a lot of cosmic forces. I'm not being spiritual, I'm not being religious, but energy does exist. We do have atoms and we do have that positivity going on or the negativity. But you create your bubble, which is why I feel it's to like acclimatize. You're waking up with a very warm body. Your body heat is high. You are going to get angry at the first person you see, you know. But if you channel your energy, I'm not even going into chakras, I'm not going to preach Buddhism or Hinduism here. But if you have absolute control over your emotion and you tell yourself, today I'm going to smile, today I'm going to have a really incredible day, I'm going to enjoy everything that happens, all the people on the other side, even if they're negative, they cannot break your wall. So I feel it's really important to choose to shape a little bit instead of saying luck will take care and one day something will happen and all of that.
Very nice said, Fiago. Well, with that same passion, would you like to say something to our youth, the millennials, which is the largest audience for us actually?
There's so much of advice I want to give without looking like a preacher. I would start by saying, don't let anybody or anything stop you from dreaming. We have one life, 7 or 8 apps, you're living your entire day. So we don't have much else if we're not dreaming. So dream, you know, as much as people won't believe you at first, but eventually they will. You will make 700 paintings in your 10,000 hours and you believe in what you do. Only then can you convince everybody else. So I would say never let anyone or in this world. I would also like to say that don't chase success. I mean, honestly, don't chase success. Don't jump on a gravy train because it's hot right now. Don't do something because it's popular and it's trending, because tomorrow it won't. And you'd have missed your shot at it because you tried to be trending. Instinct tells you to do. Success is a byproduct. It's not the be and all and end. Peace is. Happiness is. Contentment is. I feel there's a lot of talent out there, a lot of talent, especially where I'm from in the East. You have so much talent, but the parents out there, the leaders, they're like, you know, no, you have to do science, UPSC karo, I don't know what else, like civil servants. To the parents as well, don't mold your kids into, you know, Meri Adhuri like wishes and all that. So be a friend to your kid, be more open. So to the parents, I would say that. I've done a whole lot of interviews and it's never been like this. Topics that nobody likes to address. I had a great time. Thanks for this.
You're welcome, Fiago. It's been absolutely lovely having you on the show. Thank you so much to you.
Yes.
Fiago, before we leave, we have something to commemorate this occasion of
Oh, wow. Okay.
of us, you know, chatting together.
Yes.
I've written a fiction book, Jasmine Builds on Shifting Sands,
Okay.
which is actually, Jasmine is a very similar character to you actually. Because she's a young girl who goes on to become a fashionista. And the whole book brings out principles of success, interestingly in very similar terms in which, you know, you were speaking about.
Okay.
So I have this book for you.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
and before I give this to you, I have a poem written in it dedicated to you.
Okay.
And I would like to read it out. Vic Fiago, privileged education, entitled to careers, adventurous Vikram throws it all in love for his music. But Vic's passion gets rationed with life's rash upheavals. Emotions then gush and rush. Rage and angst set words in rhythm, returning a magic spell of rap. Vic writes, recites, evokes, plays with sound and sync with the heart of crowds. Come awards, brands in meditation and produces rap in Zen to raise people's hopes. He shapes content and beats to make them woke.
Kind of speechless. Thank you so much.
We also young audiences.
Wow.
It's a graphic novel of the same story.
I don't know what to say. Thank you so much for this. This is just really cool.
And one last gift.
Really?
It's by the same artist who's done the graphic novel.
I don't know what to say, but like, thanks so much, I guess.
Thanks to you.
Thanks all you guys like taking part in this, and thanks.
Thanks a lot for sharing your story so candidly, Vic. I'm sure it's going to be inspiring to many, many people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All the little like obnoxious fiends, try find yourself, take a conscious leap. Find yourself, take a conscious leap. Find yourself, take a conscious leap. Instead of living life like obnoxious fiends, try find yourself, take a conscious leap.